Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to the voice of the people. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
BoxingVoice.com. All the guys want. I want what Mayweather got. I want what Mayweather got. You done bust your ass like Mayweather. I was trying to fight every fighter. I sacrificed a lot to get to where I got to.
What do you bring to the table?
Let's get this on. Let's do it.
Well, it's like this. Wait. All right, that's it. Hold on. Bernard, everybody calm down.
Man, you know how these bitches is in the sport. Total disrespect. Kid has no class, no style at all. I sacrificed a lot. BoxingVoice.com to get to where I got to. BoxingVoice.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Boxing Voice Radio. Happy Easter to everyone out there that participates in that kind of thing, right? I was out with my daughter a little earlier, taking pictures in front of the cherry blossoms, right? So hopefully everyone has enjoyed their Sunday, and we're here to talk some boxing. There were some significant fights that took place over the weekend, and we're going to give you our review of all of those fights. You know, topic number one will be Julius Indongo unifying the division. He is now the number 2 behind Terence Crawford. I mean, he has 3 titles, and some will say he has 2 because some don't, really like the IBO. But, Chris Eubank does, right? Junior, that is. We'll also be talking about Sullivan Barrera, staying busy with Paul pay-per-view Parker, and he scored a 5th-round knockout of Parker. We'll talk about Dmitry Bivol, who definitely exploded on the scene over this weekend, really destroying Samuel Clarkson. We'll talk about Deontay Wilder saying that he is going to be ringside at Joshua Klitschko. I don't know why, though, but we'll talk about why I feel it's a waste of some ticket money, going to the UK. Just makes no sense. And there's some other headlines that we're going to touch on. So if this is something that interests you, something that you feel like you want to participate in, well, then the number is 1-425-569-5241. Press 1 just one time if you want to get it off your chest. You want to voice your opinion on the Voice of the People hotline. Let's head on out to the Golden State.
Production.
This is a beautiful performance against a very tough guy in Michael Johnson. How do you feel about it?
Fuck that. Conor McGregor.
BoxingVoice.com.
You know me, Larry. From a wicked entrance, from a flip over the rock into a knockout. When the main thing is, I just help the guy. I wish.
BoxingVoice.com.
Yes, the Hipster is back on another flagship Sunday show of TBV. And my boy, Julius Indongo, did it. I told everyone that he was going to beat Fedor Chudinov to get that IBF belt. He did it. I told everyone he was going to beat Ricky Burns to become a unified champion. He did it. Now, what will he do next? I may have some opinions on that. And they may not be the most favorable to my boy Indongo here. But then we have, the slate of news, Wilder going to the UK to be ringside. I love that drama. That instantly adds a whole nother storyline to that fight that wasn't there before. And you know me, I love hyping up fights. I love that whole, the showmanship of the sport, so to speak. And plus we had some other fights to get to, obviously, and break down and such. So it's going to be a good show. Can't wait. And happy Easter to everyone out there.
That's right. So where do we start? None other than Julius Indongo. Very impressed with the Indongo character. Very aggressive. I love the way he came out so aggressive, and he definitely kept using his southpaw jab. I really appreciated that. I like how he kept moving as well. He's so long and tall. He used his height to his advantage. you know, and just the sheer aggressive nature of it. Like, there was really nothing you can criticize, right? Like, because you figure this guy is coming, you know, overseas to fight in the United Kingdom. You know, you got to leave it all in the ring, right? And that's exactly what he was doing. Round after round after round, he was being first. He was landing more. He was throwing more. And, you know, there's really nothing special about him. I feel like he misses a lot, or he's definitely open to be countered. I love the way that he loops that left hand, though. It's kind of tricky, you know. It comes from over and then lands kind of like the Gennady Rubio. You know, what was that? A left hook that Gennady landed on Rubio over the top? It's kind of how Indongo, in the direction which Indongo likes to land his, not the same way. They do not throw it in the same way at all. But Indongo, again, I love that he uses his reach and his height, always moving, just very active. I mean, a fight with him and Terence Crawford would be interesting, because watching he and Ricky Burns, you know, side by side at the weigh-in, I was just shocked at how big he was. But then watching him in the fight, he still looked tremendously tall next to Burns. And it seems like he has a lot of snap on his punches, because even when Burns was using his high guard, he would still kind of, like, you know, back up, really. I mean, I don't know. It was a really good fight, though. And surprisingly, Matt, those commentators were fair. Adam Smith was there. Dave Caldwell was there. And Alex Arthur, I believe. They were fairly, you know, good with their cards. Everyone had it, like, every single round to Indongo. And they weren't really, you know, lying.
Yeah, like, it wasn't like the Terry Flanagan Peter Petrov fight, for example, that we watched a couple of weeks ago for a live chat on Patreon, where, you know, there were time after time after time we heard the commentary team go, "Oh, that was a clear round for Flanagan," and me and you had just talked about how Petrov won that round. That wasn't the case for this fight. So yes, that's very good on the commentary team in the UK for Sky Sports. I know Anthony Corolla also was there helping out with the commentary team as well. So kudos to all those guys for at least being fair and objective in their commentary. But just to touch on the fight itself, I thought Indongo's cardio and stamina was really impressive. You know, to me, that was the biggest question mark. You know, from watching tape of him, from his breakout performance against Trinovsky, we never really seen him go to late rounds, let alone the 11th or the 12th round, those championship rounds. We've never seen that from him up until this fight. And we did. And I don't think he missed a beat from round 1 all the way to round 12. I mean, there was a couple rounds where he sort of took off a little bit, but he was constantly on his toes, constantly bouncing back and forth, popping that jab, that 1-2, and just repeating it over and over again. So I just think that he is rather impressive for somebody of 22 fights, relatively unknown in the division. He is really polished for where he's at in terms of experience. The next fight's obviously Crawford. I mean, let's have a undisputed champion of junior welterweight. You know, I think it's finally time that we have somebody do it. You know, Triple G was supposed to do it against Billy Joe Saunders. That's not how it worked out. Now he's going to fight Canelo, or hoping to get that Canelo fight in September. So we're not going to get an undisputed champion at middleweight. And right now, the only other division where that's possible is junior welterweight. So I want to see the Crawford and Indongo fight, but Indongo is open to those counters. He is a little bit wild and unconventional. That is both a plus and a negative at times, and depending who he fights. But plus, he was against Ricky Burns. You know, I've always given Ricky Burns a ton of credit, but the guy is obviously towards the tail end of his career, and it's been a very respectable career that almost any boxer, professionally or amateur, would want to have. So no, shade on Ricky Burns, but he did fight a much more faded boxer than he will face against a Terence Crawford, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you really think that the next fight is gonna be Crawford, huh?
I don't think so, to be honest. Eddie Hearn has an option on
who had options on this guy.
So because that option, it makes things really odd. I don't know who on that side they could really either feed Indongo to, or feed to Indongo. You know, like I there's really no one there at 140 from Eddie Hearn's stable that I know off the top of my head. Obviously, he has some 135 pounders, but that's about it. And 147 pounders. You know, does he want Indongo to move up his next fight and fight someone? I don't know.
Yeah, he can't force that anyway. I mean, Indongo has 3 titles.
Exactly. So there's just a lot of things that are just weird about that part of it. You know, the aspect that Eddie Hearn has the rights to Indongo's next fight makes things a little more complicated and a little bit more uncertain about what his next step is. If that wasn't in the way, I think Indongo and his team would 100% go after the Crawford fight. He's already shown a propensity to go overseas in his opponent's hometown and fight them for belts. He did that against Trinovsky in Russia, in Moscow. He did that against Ricky Burns in Glasgow, Scotland. And I could see him doing that against Terence Crawford in Omaha, Nebraska, or just America in general. Plus, at the age of 34, he needs to maximize his career ASAP. So it's all big fights right now for Indongo. You know, he may have one in-between fight because of the Eddie Hearn deal, but I foresee him trying to get that unification fight against Terence Crawford as soon as possible.
Now, do you think that the option that Hearns has could be a good thing, right? I mean, Hearns has the ability to get all fighters big fights. He's done it for some time now, so maybe he could be that mitigator between Indongo, Top Rank, and Crawford.
Or just the fact that, let's say that the Crawford fight isn't the fight next. Let's say he fights someone from Eddie Hearn's stable that I can't think of. The positive is that Indongo gets airtime. He gets exposure on Sky Sports, which is arguably, you know, one of the greatest platforms for boxers right now. You know, you can really make the argument that it is the greatest platform to be on right now if you're a boxer, is Sky Sports. So it's only a positive. You can really make that argument that no matter what's in store for Indongo, he's going to get exposure no matter what network he's on because of his belts and who he's tied with. It's probably going to be a big fight because he's a unified champion of a division. And he has one of the biggest promoters in the sport and in the world in his backing now for his next fight. So it's all plus positives for Indongo.
Hearns does have O'Hara Davis, right, who's been awfully vocal, calling, you know, not calling out Mayweather, but saying F the money team and F Mayweather, that he's, you know, basically stuck up on himself. And, you know, O'Hara's been kind of like heavily touted, right? They even used him in this Ricky Burns Indongo fight. They went to him during the telecast.
You're right. I forgot about that.
They're stablemates with Ricky Burns. So maybe that last option is a rush title shot for O'Hara Davis, who was very vocal, wanting fights with the money team when Mayweather and Gravanta went over to the UK to promote the Liam Walsh fight. Or who is it that he's fighting? I don't even know.
Liam Walsh.
Oh, it is Liam Walsh. Okay.
I mean, that theory makes a lot of sense now. I mean, I don't know. I can't believe I forgot O'Hara Davis. They even went to him. I remember them going to him. Now, you know, I was watching the fight with Info Joe, JP, Ferngoli, and Santiago. And we're like, oh, O'Hara Davis, you know, like he was calling out the Mayweather guys. Like that's what we even talked about when we saw that. I think that seems like the most logical move for Eddie Hearn. You get your guy, O'Hara Davis, who, in all intents and purposes, could beat Julius Indongo. O'Hara Davis could be the real next guy in the division and the next up and coming prospect in that way that Crawford was before he beat Ricky Burns. You know, there is shades there. So I could definitely see Hearn pushing O'Hara Davis, and it's not like Eddie Hearn has had an issue pushing some of his guys a lot faster than some of his other guys. You know, we've seen that. So I think that's it. You put Julius Indongo against O'Hara Davis, probably in the summertime, sometime around there, and then the winner of that fight against Terence Crawford. You know, if it's Julius Indongo. If O'Hara Davis beats Julius Indongo, all bets are off on the unification fight. Let's be honest.
Well, my friends, I think that you can cue the mystery music one more time because it looks like that's the way it's heading. I'm going to attempt to screen share here a verified Twitter of my guy Indongo, O'Hara. And just going off his Twitter, he's lobbying for that. Let's just zoom in on this for you guys. All right, so we move that over. And someone asked him, why aren't you calling out Crawford? Because Crawford is the man at 40 right now, and I don't believe my name belongs in the same sentence as his yet. His next tweet is the retweeted tweet that I told you about, the interview he did with iFilm London, where he says Floyd Mayweather got his head up his ass, F him, and F his whole team. O'Hara Davis X-rated. Then he says Indongo doesn't like, well, he retweets a tweet that was sent to him saying Indongo doesn't like being hit at Eddie Hearn, the promoter, obviously, of O'Hara Davis and Ricky Burns. Your man at O'Hara Davis would deal with them. Let the tanks fly. Make it happen. And O'Hara retweeted that. Now, here's another picture with Indongo side by side, O'Hara Davis. And it says, retweet if you want to see this, hashtag boxing. This was 11 hours ago. Davis looking pretty big next to Indongo, Matt.
Yeah, like O'Hara Davis is going to be a natural 147 pounder one day, or soon, I should say.
Now, do you think that he is ready to take this opportunity and step up to the plate if Eddie Hearn can secure him this fight? Because he's only 15-0. I mean, he's got like Derry Matthews is a name that I'm familiar with. I'm sure our UK listeners could let us know in the comments any of these other, you know, young guys he might have fought. But he's ranked 12 in the world at least. I just don't know. We got to see him. Is he ready for Indongo? Indongo's a bit of a mystery to me still because we knew what Ricky Burns was. You know, we can't forget how many guys came close to beating Ricky Burns and didn't get to pull away with the decision because of the judges, you know, or because of the hometown or whatever the case may be. We know how many close decisions Ricky Burns has been in, whether he deserved to get the win or didn't deserve. In some cases with Omar Figueroa, most of us thought he deserved to get the win and he didn't. So,
but just to point out some added context to that statement you just said, this was not a close decision. This was wide. I mean, I had every round.
No, every round was Indongo without a doubt. Yeah. Without a doubt. I mean, Ricky Burns kept his hands at home. He could not deal with the activity nor the power. This kid seems to have real power because the punches were hurting Burns. He was going backwards when they were landing. Indongo was going to the body with the jab. You know, and with the straight left. I mean, I like everything about Indongo, but again, it was Ricky Burns, who some would argue was at the end of his career. And, you know, I don't know. I just don't know. But let's move on to the Sullivan Barrera fight. He took on Paul Pay-Per-View Parker on HBO Latino. You know, I was speaking to our social media content manager, Alex, and he was saying that he felt Barrera didn't impress him. But to me, I mean, he scored a couple of knockdowns. He hurt Paul every time he seemed to land the right hand, and he got him out of there in the 5th round. And then to put a cherry on top, he called out Joe Smith Jr. in very bad broken English. Something like, Joe Smith, come on, let's go. Let's give the people what they want. You know, I think I did a better Spanglish version of what he tried to do on HBO Latino, but I still enjoyed it. He is what he is. You know what I'm saying? He's on that UNESCO. He's like a step above UNESCO, I think, Matt, like in terms of technique, but he's just as raw sometimes, like especially when he goes to the body. He squares up so badly when he goes up to the body. But, you know, listen, Paul was in there to make Barrera look good on short notice. he's calling out Joe Smith Jr., who's an HBO fighter, right? Or has fought on HBO at least the last time knocking B-Hop through the ropes. Maybe Golden Boy has an option on Joe. Maybe they can finagle a Barrera fight. Do you like the Barrera Joe Smith? Were you impressed by Barrera's performance last night?
I wouldn't say I was impressed. I definitely would not say that. And I would definitely be more aligned with Alex Lemon being unimpressed. But though I definitely felt that Sullivan Barrera never got out of first or second gear. I can tell that Barrera just thought that this guy was a tune-up, that he was there just to get some rounds in. You know, this fight was announced on a week or two notice. You know, it was very late notice for this fight to be announced. There was no one in the crowd. There was no atmosphere. I mean, there was maybe 24 people there that bought tickets. Just saying. It was probably the most empty crowd of an HBO or Showtime card of the year or the past several years combined. So it was just a lackluster fight, lackluster card. There was no atmosphere to the entire event. So it was just underwhelming. The whole card was underwhelming, I would say. I wouldn't say Sullivan Barrera was underwhelming, but just the whole thing was. But I do like the Sullivan Barrera-Joe Smith fight. I think that both guys were going there looking to give a knockout. I think both guys are going in there without being the most technical boxers. We should get a little bit of a slug 'em fight. And to everyone's pleasure, it should be an exciting one too. So I'm all for it. And plus, it's a fight between two top 5, two top 10 light heavyweights. And I'm always in favor of fights between two comparatively skilled opponents that are both elite.
Well, like I said, man, I know what he is. That's
but
what
I like your analysis of him being like a step above Yuneski Gonzalez. Like, that's the perfect example.
I just think he's still a bit, I don't know if raw or crude or rough around the edges, or maybe all three mixed into one is what I see in him. Now, someone who is a lot straighter with his punches, someone who I was impressed with, someone who's in the same division, and I wouldn't mind him taking on Barrera, is Dmitry Bivol. What he did to Clarkson on Friday night on Showbox, I was impressed. Still don't know. You know, I'm not saying the book is out. You know, I'm not saying that this guy is the next thing since sliced bread, because he's still backing up in a straight line, you know, and let's be honest, his punches are so hard. You hear the shots. I mean, I know I heard the shots on the telecast, and Clarkson just couldn't throw. It must have been painful to try an exchange in between Bivol. And even when he was blocking, you can hear the thuds from the shots. I'm impressed by this guy. I like that he goes to the body early, both with jabs and, you know, hooks. He uses his jab. Only thing I didn't like, again, was that he kind of was in a straight line, but he was the aggressor. Really, Clarkson only put him, you know, on the back foot once or twice, maybe. But even still, he fights well off the back foot. He has all his power on his back foot. I was impressed by this guy. Never watched him before. I did know Clarkson. I've seen about 3 of his fights. Obviously, LaVarn Harvell, the last guy he beat, that's not world level. He was 15-1 or something like that, or 15-2. But those, that record it's deceivable, right? But I still saw something in Clarkson, and in spots, Matt, he tried whenever he came forward and threw at least 3 or more punches. But I mean, it seemed painful. I don't know, how did it look like to you on your end, because it seemed painful whenever he would get caught within an exchange.
Yes, Bivol's 9-0 right now, and the feeling I get and the eye test that he passes at 9-0 is very similar to the eye test and feeling I got from Errol Spence at 9-0. It's that the offensively just powerful destruction.
For the record, Matt, he's moving faster than Errol Spence. I mean, he's already an interim.
In terms of through the division, yes, 100%.
He's an interim WBA champion already. He doesn't respect it much, but at the very least, it gets him the next shot to the regular, and then from regular you get to super.
Yeah, it's a step up. It's a ranking. Whatever you want to think about the WBA belts, but I digress. I think that Bivol's just shot selection. Everything is accurate. Everything has power on it. His jab is just a setup shot, but it still has power on it. His right hand is devastating. His shots to the body, while not consistent or the priority, are still devastating. This guy he hits you and it changes the complexion of his opponent. So I think this guy is going to do some stuff. I don't know where he goes, how good he gets, because defensively he still bothers me. He is still defensively suspect. Like you said, he walks forward and backwards on straight lines way too much. No lateral movement, no head movement either. Just very, very stiff in nature, similar to like an Errol Spence. But, when you have that sort of firepower on your side, when you're that accurate, when your timing and your range gets dialed down within the first round so quickly, that's so hard to come back against. He's not going to face any sort of issues, in my opinion, till he gets to that top 3 or 4 ranking and those top 3 or 4 guys. And then all of a sudden, we're going to see him face some diversity. But that's just because he's so much better than everyone else at this level.
Well, I think that he's there already, right? Like his next fight should be Cleverly, right? And that's who at least he's demanding, who he called out. But the super champion is Andre Ward, who obviously has to defend his title versus Sergey Kovalev. And, Bivol needs to do a lot more than just be a mandatory. I think he might still be able to get it as a mandatory the way that Earl did. But in leading up to that mandatory challenge to a guy like Andre Ward or Sergey Kovalev, depending on the weather come June, he needs to rack up some wins. And a guy like Nathan Cleverly is a decent name, I think. He's not from Kazakhstan. He's from like Kyrgyzstan or something like that. So I don't know if you can help with the pronunciation.
Kyrgyzstan, I believe.
Kyrgyzstan, yeah. So
yes, not all Eastern Europeans
good
that look like Gennady Golovkin come from Kazakhstan.
Yeah, but still Stan, right? Almost sounds the same. But what I like about him is he has good bend in his legs, right? When he throws that straight right, you got to watch his back leg and everything. And he's so straight with it, man. I like this guy. I would like to see him again. First name on his resume. I don't know how he was already an interim champion. This is the craziest thing, but that he's ranked in the WBA, and so is Better Beef. So what do you think about that down the line? I like his right hand for Better Beef. He might drop Better Beef a couple of times.
Better Beef is better at getting off the center line as he's coming forward and going backwards. Better Beef is constantly ducking and switching and doing that slight shoulder movement. And Bivol just comes in so straight and so stiff that I could definitely see Better Beef catching him. I see both guys catching each other 100%. I think that's the type of fight. Whoever has the better chin wins.
So, Deontay Wilder, Mr. Bomb Squad himself, is packing the bags, going April 29th to be ringside for Joshua Klitschko and aims to call out the winner. Now, my problem with this is there's a rematch clause. There's a rematch clause, man, and why waste the ticket, bro? If Joshua loses, that rematch is automatically in play. And if Klitschko loses, yes, there's a possibility that the fight could happen with Wilder, but I feel like it's going to get strung along for quite some months before Klitschko inevitably says, you know what, I'm not going to exercise my rematch clause or my right to have a rematch, and I'm going to choose to retire. By then, Anthony Joshua probably has some homecoming fight maybe. But I guess to add to the storyline, I cannot be a hater. I can see how people will gobble this up and think that it's good for Wilder to come over there. But I just don't think that he is the next fight. I don't see that happening. Matt, what have you? What do you think about this this whole Wilder going across the pond?
Well, he's definitely not the next fight. Whoever wins that fight, Joshua Klitschko, even if there's not a rematch, Wilder is not the next fight. I think we can all sort of agree on that. But, you said at the very top of the show, is it worth the ticket? And my argument is that, is it worth flying over to the UK, sitting ringside, just so every camera for that 90,000 plus seated fight that's going to sell probably over 1 million pay-per-view buys in the UK, that's going to shatter records all over the place. It's going to crown the next star in the sport potentially in Joshua, that you add your name to the hat. When the most cameras are on, you're there. You're adding your name into the public narrative of what should Joshua or Klitschko do next. And I think that you can't put a price on that. To sort of control or divert what the public thinks in some sort of way, I think is priceless. And I think Wilder being there is subverting the public narrative of this fight to not just Joshua's coming out party, but Joshua beating Klitschko, ending that era of heavyweight, and then it's going to be Joshua Wilder, the next fight for the next generation of heavyweight. That's the new public narrative, and it's going to happen right there on fight night, only because Wilder is there in person, and I think that's invaluable.
It's funny. The quotes are saying that he wants to, call out the winner, and I'm wondering if he's gonna get into the ring kind of Tyson Fury style, right? Because Joshua strikes me as like a Mayweather guy, like a don't disrespect me type of guy, and I think that could be taken as disrespect. That could be taken as trying to steal the spotlight, right?
100%. And like you said, like Joshua and Wilder are two of those guys that are super nice and friendly until they feel any sort of disrespect or threatened. And then that alpha male, like, I believe I'm the best fighter in the world mentality comes out, and everyone else is a motherfucker and I'm coming to get your neck. Like, that's what that mentality is. So I think that whenever this fight is really going to start marinating and really going to start getting hyped up, there's going to be some animosity there, just because both these guys want to be the best in the division, want to be the next best guy, the new young guy, the new face of boxing, and they know they have to get through the other one to become that.
Well, I hate to be the one to say it, but I'm wondering if it's more. I'm wondering, again, if it will get personal, if it will be taken as a sign of disrespect. If you haven't heard it, I'm sure that Anthony Joshua has heard my interview with Deontay Wilder and his thoughts on Joshua not being as tough as he perceives. Went on to discuss like his, upbringing and the time that he got in trouble with the law and things like that. So I know that Joshua heard this. I know that Joshua feels this. Plus, I remember bringing up to Wilder, like, oh, wait, but what are you talking about? Look at the way Joshua reacted to Brazil. And he was like, man, that was fake. I know people that know Joshua and say X, Y, Z. So there's no way that didn't get back to AJ. And, AJ just lets this guy crash his party after the biggest win of his career. He comes in the ring yelling and screaming. I don't know. Now, if Wilder comes with a different approach, maybe a more civilized one, maybe, he's brought into the ring by Eddie Hearns. Maybe he's given a mic and
he shouldn't do that. Nah, he needs to go in there screaming or go in there politely.
I don't know, man. If he goes in there like Tyson Fury, if he goes in there the way
the bad guy, be the enemy. He's going to be in enemy territory. Like, own it. Anthony Joshua, no matter how you're going to paint him, is always going to be the Sugar Ray Leonard. He's always going to be the golden boy. He's been painted that way from basically the end of his amateur career. Wilder has never been painted that way. I don't think Wilder's ever sort of painted himself that way as well. Wilder's always painted himself as the 28-year-old guy that grew up in the gangster hip hop era. And he's embodied that in all of its positive ways, in my opinion. And I think that he goes in there dressed as he does, where he's flashy, it's loud outfits and all, and he's walking in the ring after Joshua beats Klitschko, and he goes, "Now give me my shot. Let's unify this division, boy. Let's do this." All that, I think, will just be a moment that we will always remember, because it's the moment that will set that fight in motion. And him going in there all polite, reserved, doesn't do that. It doesn't get the fight anywhere. It doesn't create a super fight.
I agree that he would have to be a villain, but the UK public could be very mean. And he goes in there trying to be a boss without proving it. Yo, right now, Wilder is shit to them. Especially if Anthony Joshua beats Wladimir Klitschko, and then a guy who they think hasn't beat anyone comes and tries to shit on the parade. They won't see it as calling out. You know that. They're going to see it as disrespect. Yeah. I think Joshua would take it as disrespect. That is my opinion. We could definitely ask the listeners. Let's open up these phone lines. Before we do, we got a few more headlines we need to get to. Nothing important at all, but I'll let the hipster bring up this character.
Well, there's just one quick piece of hipster news, as we should make this segment called. George Groves versus Fedor Chudinov seems to be official, and seems to be going to be the co-main event for Kell Brook versus Errol Spence on May 27th. I can't wait to see what the callers think of that co-main event. I actually don't mind it. And since it's a Sky Sports event, they don't have the deepest cards usually. And that's a pretty good fight that we've been talking about for a long time. So I'm not too upset about it.
Bro, George Groves gets more second chances than me.
Yeah. That's because George Groves is awesome, man. Come on.
All right. Well,
when you're a great interview, you get as many chances as you want. That's why Amir Khan gets as many chances as he does, because Amir Khan's a good interview.
I'll tell you what, this week we definitely needed no help from our sponsors in terms of the app.
Fight fans, don't leave the decision in the hands of the judges. Download the Throwdown scoring app and receive live scoring, CompuBox stats, boxing predictions from other users around the world. Head over to your iPhone App Store or your Google Play Store and download it absolutely free.
Indongo pitched the shutout to me, so anybody that needed the app, I mean, you could use it anyway, just to keep, I guess, record of every fight that you score. But let's get on out to our callers, resident rock stars in the house.
So I do think that Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder is the next thing as far as heavyweights. It makes me excited about the heavyweight division. And as soon as Klitschko lost to Tyson Fury, I got really excited, even though the fight was it was pretty much a horrible fight. It was a necessary evil on what's his name's part. But now that Klitschko doesn't have that aura of invincibility, it's great to move on to the next round. See heavyweights that are in shape. We don't have to hope for the best out of Chris Arreola. No, these are good fighters, high quality fighters. I did see what's his name? Fucking the Bronze Bomber. I saw him live at the MGM versus Stavern, and I was really, really impressed by the fact that he was fighting with a broken hand, and he didn't just have that one hitter quitter. It was like boxing skill on display in every facet, defense, range, like all kinds of styles that he used to take out Stavern in that fight. It was awesome. With that said, the real heavyweight title that everyone really wants to see is Robert Ortiz versus Nestor Gibbs. Let's keep it real. That's the real heavyweight championship fight. and Nestor Gibbs is fucking ducking me. I told him straight up. No, this isn't funny. I told him, you can get it at your fucking weight. I don't care about the weight class. We could do it at whatever you want. I don't care. It's fine. But I'm officially calling you out. Officially. Oh, Lord.
Cut it.
No, that's ridiculous. No, July 4th. Let's make it happen. The fans want to see it. The fans want to see Nestor Gibbs just be put unconscious, dude. They want to see him go unconscious. Just, oh, man. That big motherfucker. He's looking like a tree. Boom, dude. All right. I'll give you this, though, Nestor. I did spar with Eddie. You're right. It was an unfair fight. I took him apart. And not necessarily just – it wasn't just a physical thing. I schooled him. And, had I put any power in those punches, I mean, I might be burying my friend today. So, but you're next, dude. You're next. Eddie's not a good fighter.
I don't think he got a chance in here with Canelo.
Before I go, though, my last question is that video, is that really MD on your Instagram? Shadow boxing? Nestor? I didn't see a mustache. Is that real?
Maybe if you were Patreon, you would be able to see MD and compare it.
There's because that was the most like, holy crap. That was sad. I know it had to be a joke. You had to be trying to like hustle people to get him to get people to fight him, dude. Because there's no way that's real. That was bad. That wow. I could put MD to sleep with just a jab, dude. And oh my gosh, that's horrible. That's horrible. With that said, calling you out, Nestor Gibbs, July 4th. Sign the contract, mofo. Sign the contract.
And I'm telling you, we're growing, Matt. We're growing. Whenever we get prank calls like this, it's fucking growth, bro.
Oh, come on. Don't disrespect the rock star like that, you know? He has a couple dozen fans, okay? Come on.
This is growth, bro. And you get a guy that you can just call just to troll. That's fucking awesome. Now, let's go out to Australia.
But no one can stop me, really.
Oh, there's a king croc right there. This croc has enough power in its jaws to whip my head right off.
You're gonna be the legend to become a legend.
Honestly, these are unbeatable.
You're gonna be the legend to become a legend.
Hey, what's going on, boys? Just strolling down the coast of Australia for my birthday. Just had to get the dosage of TBV in because I can't watch boxing at the moment. But is this bloke that's calling you out? He's not even a Patreon, bros. You ain't even on the radar. Get to Patreon first. Put up some dollars. Show that you're real, and then call out Ness, bro. Fuck, he's like 8 foot tall, bro. Please, this bloke's a joke. But anyway, no crow for me today. I went with my favorite mustached hipster with Indongo, but I'll let you go. I haven't slept in 3 days, just drinking non-stop. But take it easy, boys, and thanks for the show.
Alex, thanks as always. Coach Mitty, you're always just listening. Are you talking today or what?
Yo, I'm awake, man. I'm talking, man.
Oh, what's going on, brother? Good to have you on.
I'm good. Yeah, good to speak to you guys. So very quickly, the Indongo fight, like you said it all, right? There's no need to score that fight. It was like unanimous, finding it very hard to give Burns even like the share of 1 or 2 rounds. The only thing I would say, like that Indongo, he looks big at the weight, right? So he was massive, very lanky, and his shot seems to have like a lot of power in them. As far as saying that he will beat Crawford, I don't think so. The one thing that I saw in Indongo is that he couldn't really close the ring properly. At times he was following Ricky Burns, and that's what really gave him the opportunity to escape that knockout, right? When he was just stepping to his right and escaping that big left hand coming, right? So now, in terms of the Anthony Joshua and Wilder coming to the UK, I think that's a good idea. I think the guy from Sky Sports, like yesterday during the fight, mentioned that they're gonna have Wilder doing some media work for them. So he's definitely not wasting a ticket. He's not even paying for that ticket, I'm sure. He's gonna make some money doing some commentary for Sky, covering the fight, and he's gonna raise his profile and just like possibly promote the fight with AJ when the time comes. So that's a good opportunity for him to do some promotion here. So and that's pretty much it. There was nothing else this weekend. Oh, just one more thing. I don't know if you got to see the undercard of the bill yesterday. One good fighter that you could look out for, Josh Kelly. He made his debut yesterday, and he was pretty slick. And for you guys, I always say a European fighter just keep their hands up and just take punches on the glove. He's definitely one of the example that you want to watch. He doesn't put his hands up too much. He relies on reflexes, head movement, and for a debut, it was a really, really good debut. Hopefully, we can see him grow and do some great things in the future. That's me done this.
Coach, thanks for calling in. Definitely going to check out Josh and see what he's all about. Let's get on out to LA. Santiago, what up? Santiago.
Hey guys, what's up? Sorry about that. Hey guys, what's up? It's been an interesting weekend of fights, to say the least. We had the Dmitry Bivol basically put the hurt on Samuel Clarkson. You and me, Nestor, probably thought a little bit more of a tougher counter run than what we saw, but Bivol looked pretty good. He seems to have a general idea of how to approach a southpaw like Clarkson. And I think he needs a couple more showbox bouts under his belt before we see him in there with some of the upper echelon of the light heavyweight division, even if he is the WBA interim champion, which really means nothing when you really look at the track record of the WBA. Sullivan Barrera, he didn't really impress me. He looked to just be going in there, get some rounds in, get a knockout if he could. He did. He got in the 5th round, wicked left uppercut under the chin to put Paul Parker down and basically seal a fight afterwards. And it was a much tougher task trying to score a round for Burns than it was for Indongo. And I want to give a special shout out to Matt because he actually put forth the effort to try and argue 4 rounds for Burns. So kudos to you, Matt, for putting forth the effort for that. I look forward to seeing what Indongo has in store for us now, since there are 2 unified champions at 140 pounds. They have the makings of making an undisputed champion when they make the fight. It should be good. As always, any question you guys have, feel free to ask. Otherwise, that's my call.
I'm good. I don't know about you, Matt.
No, I'm good.
All right, let's get to Jesse Reekin in Long Island.
Yeah, the one and the only. The one and the only Jesse Reekin. And here's what I got to comment. Actually, let me give a shout out to my boy Ralph that be listening to the show every day. And he told me I don't get a shout out from him. Let me give a shout out to my boy Ralph. What do you guys think about Joe Smith Jr. versus Sean Monahan?
Shawnee gets his ass kicked, and he probably retires from the sport after the beating that Joe Smith Jr. would give him.
Granted, but wouldn't that be the better fight though?
To what? Better fight compared to what?
Like to fill out the venue and stuff.
But what are you comparing Joe Smith Jr. and Shawnee Monahan to? What fight are you comparing it to?
No, I'm comparing it to like you guys called out Joe Smith Jr. that he should fight. But
no. Not you guys. Not you guys. Barrera said he called out Joe Smith. He said, let's get it on. Not us. We don't got nothing to do with that.
Right. But wouldn't the better fight be Joe Smith Jr. versus Sean Monahan?
I mean, if you're talking location, if you're talking location and you're a promoter worried about tickets and ticket sales, I mean, maybe, yeah, but no. What the fuck has Monahan done? I mean, his PR or something?
Name me one person Shawnee Monahan has beat.
I can't, but he's 21-0.
Come on, bro. Regan, stop it. Regan.
How much are you drinking on Easter? Come on, Regan.
You can't name someone he beat, but you're beating the drum for him to get a fight.
I always said this. If you beat 21 bums, you're still a good fighter.
That don't mean you deserve an interim title shot at an HBO named fighter, at a fighter that's already got his bones and did his man. Come on, Monahan ain't did what Joe Smith done. You trying to give Monahan some shine?
Hey, well, he's from my neighborhood. Gotta give him some time.
So the truth comes out.
Yeah, he's a log alley.
Yo, Jesse, how much you been drinking on Easter, man?
A lot. Too much?
Just a little bit, man. You serious? If you're thinking Shawnee Monahan's a better fight against Joe Smith Jr. than fucking Sullivan Barrera, yeah, you've been drinking too much, buddy.
No, Sean. No, you're not listening to what I'm saying. Joe Smith and Sean Monahan is the better fight. Trust me, I know boxing like the back of my hand. Oh, shit, what the fuck is that?
Jesse, we got to get to other
There
calls,
was a fly on the back of my hand. I'm sorry.
Kansas City Mac, holler at us.
What happened?
Kansas City Mac, you up?
Oh shit! Oh shit! My bad, man. That shit was mad funny, yo. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we got you, brother.
Hello. All right. Okay. Cool. Yo, this Ricky Burns guy, man. I don't know too much about him, but he did lose, and I just know like a lot of people been wanting to put hands on him, like Adrian Broner. I don't know anything about Indu. I guess you guys can go ahead and school me on that one because I didn't do my homework, and I apologize. And then about Wilder, you know.
Yo, if Matt doesn't put Kansas City Mac, aka Virgil Hunter, by your name, so that, yo, oh
y'all might as well, man. Cause hey, cause I'm about to get on that man Virgil Hunter. That guy, yeah, I like his fighters. I like what he's about. I just love y'all show. That last caller had me laughing, so I didn't lost my words of what I wanted to say. But shout out to y'all. Love what y'all doing. I'm always be a fan. I'm always do a shout out. But like I said, I don't know too much about Ricky Burns. But I guess it's good that he came out them titles because we need some new champions. Want to get in that line then and do what they supposed to do. I got Wilder against Anthony Joshua. He does need to tighten up because Anthony, he's a little bit sharper. Wilder, I mean, his name speaks for itself. He's wild. He needs to tighten up because when he gets deeper into those champions, it's gonna be some guys that's gonna catch him, and I see it coming. If he don't tighten up, that wild stuff it's gonna hurt him pretty soon. But I'm still gonna go with Wilder, Anthony Joshua, even if it's a rematch clause against Klitschko. Joshua still do his thing. I still got him winning. I still got him beating Klitschko. I'm out. Thank y'all.
Burge, man. Good luck next week with Berto and Porter, man. Let's get on out to Bakersfield. What's up, Brad?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
All good.
Yeah, man. That I think they canceled that holiday that they created for Julius Indongo from that one guy that called in too drunk, man. I think they yeah. But no, anyway, man, I'm just joking. That what did you think about that score 116 to 112 on the Sullivan? I mean, not Sullivan, on the Julius Indongo versus Ricky Burns.
It's not the worst it could be, but it definitely wasn't the best card. Like, let's just be honest, it wasn't the best card. But I thought for sure we were gonna get one scorecard for Ricky Burns. Let's just be real. Like, it's the UK, man. Like, there was one UK judge out of the 3 judges. I thought for sure he was gonna be the one to give one scorecard for Ricky Burns. I assume he was the one that gave 116, 112 for Ricky Burns. But it's not the worst scorecard. Not the worst.
Well, Ricky Burns, the last caller asked about Ricky Burns. He's been around forever, man. Like, he's been around, like 15 years?
Yep, 15-plus year career.
He's not, I mean, it's easy to understand why why he would go unnoticed. No offense to Ricky Burns. And that's somebody that's actually watched some of his fights. He doesn't have an everlasting appeal, honestly. But yeah, and that's what happened. I mean, Julius Indongo definitely does. That dude can throw down. And what do you think about him versus Terence Crawford?
I think that Crawford would eventually be able to time him, but the first 4 to 6 rounds would be very interesting just because of
him. And it will be southpaw versus southpaw, remember, because Crawford ain't going to risk going out there as no orthodox fighter. This guy got too much power to be playing games.
So you like his power, Ness?
Well, I mean, again, we still don't know how real it is, right? I mean, this is the first guy. We don't know nothing about Tronovsky.
Ricky Burns has never been knocked out in his entire career.
Yeah, that is one thing about Ricky Burns. And on to Deontay Wilder going there, I agree with I want to say that you're right, Matt, that he should go out all guns blazing. But, man, the UK people are so different. I mean, you know, no offense to them in terms of, like, the public appeal and the way that, you know, the behavioral type of stuff. I don't know if that would be the smartest move or not. I don't know what would, but that would be a great match. Everybody wants to see Anthony Joshua versus Deontay Wilder. It's just like the last caller did say correctly, in my opinion, if he tightens things up, if Deontay could tighten things up, because everybody respects his power. He's got the power, no doubt. What do you guys think of that fight? I mean, of course, this is counting Wladimir out. What do you guys think of Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua?
We all know what Ness thinks.
Well, what Ness thinks is that it's not going to happen next. Listen, Brad, let me get to some other callers. It is that time. Class and Bound, you're up.
All right, hello?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. Hey, so, yeah, Julius Indongo, very impressive performance. I didn't see it live. I caught a replay. Very, very smooth operator. I actually ended up checking out the fight previously before he fought Ricky Burns. I mean, the man is sharp. I really like what I've seen. Him and Terence Crawford will probably most likely not be happening next. I think they'll take an in-between fight, and then possibly, perhaps, this will be Crawford's biggest test since Postal. Because I mean, and Felix Diaz is a live dog, but I mean, I'm still picking Crawford. But we'll see. Crawford's fighting good opponents, and his resume is getting there, so good for him. In terms of Wilder going to the UK, that's absolutely the right decision. He needs to go there. He needs to feigned some interest in this fight, because when Vlad came into the ring to, you know, basically promote the fight with Joshua, it was so boring. Like, there was no hype with it. It was just, hey, do you want to see us fight? Yeah, cool, let's do it. It's just like, I don't know. I wouldn't get as excited as I did when Fury went into the ring with Wilder, and both personalities just, you know, spontaneously combusted, and it was just, oh my gosh, we got to see this fight next. So I think that's smart. Also, Wilder needs to be respected, not just for Wilder's sake, but for AJ's sake. If we continue to have the narrative that Wilder is just his bum beater and that he's not very good at all, then AJ or King Kong Ortiz, if he ever fights him, you know, they shouldn't get any credit for fighting a guy who's not that great at boxing, you know? Like, I'm not going to give praise to AJ or Ortiz if I think they're fighting some overhyped guy, you know what I'm saying? So cut that narrative of Wilder not being anything, because we all know that's not true. I'm thinking Joshua to win, but Wilder's live in all those fights. He has that eraser in his right hand and in his left hand, so, you know, keep it tight. And I think Wilder will step up to the fight with both these guys. So either way, that's going to be an excellent fight. I can't really think of anything else that's going on. I think that's basically it, or is there anything else that's come up?
That's the highlights.
All right. Well, that's about it. You guys have a good one.
Class and bound. Thanks. Good call, brother. Good call. Oh my God! Every time I turn these headphones down. Let's get to Gabe in Salt Lake City.
Yo, what's going on, guys?
What's up, Gabe?
Nothing, just chilling, man. But I think if Crawford does take the Indongo fight, I think that'd be one of his tougher tests. Can't call Crawford a dunker, I guess. I don't know, man. I think you'd have to put him up there if he takes the fight. You know, he's taking another, like, kind of getting known name, but before Indongo beat Tronowski, nobody really knew who he was, kind of with, like, Postel. So I think if he takes this fight, beats him, does what he does with Postel, after that, he needs to call out a big name, or he needs to move up, because there's, you know, he needs to call out a Broner or something. I don't know. I think I've called and said this before. Try to find him these bums, but I would like to see this fight next, or he needs to fight a big name. And can I ask some questions about Border Wars, man? I think I'm, like, confused or something.
Yeah, you know, we just got a review today specifically about that. They gave me a 3-star review on iTunes, someone did, and they said that we talk more about our fight than we do the fight. So all Border Wars questions will be held to strictly Border Wars shows, unfortunately.
Oh, all right. So, okay. Dang, yeah, I just don't even know who's fighting who anymore, but all right, that's cool, man. I'll just wait for one of those shows. I tried to listen to the Friday show, but I was a little confused, but I don't know. And then
we all were confused, Gabe. We all were confused.
Okay. I'm like, I don't know. I was just trying to get some clarification. I was like, who's fighting who? Like, what's going on now? Like, MD's out, I guess. I don't even know what's going on, but all right, I'll just wait for the next Border War show. But what were you guys talking about? Joe Smith Jr.? Who do you think he should fight next?
Well, no, Sullivan Barrera called him out after the Paul Parker win.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great fight. But somebody was saying the Monahan fight for Joe Smith. I think right now that fight is a fight to make. They're both from Long Island. I think they can make it a big show out there in New York. So I would have to agree with that caller. I think he was drunk, but he did bring up some good points. But yeah, man, that's my call. I guess I'll wait for Border Wars to get some clarification, I guess.
All right, Gabe. You know, the thing about that Monahan fight, Matt, is Joe Smith at the level that he gets an A-side HBO Monahan fight? I don't think they buy it, you know?
Yeah, I just got back. Sorry, I was helping out my kid with something. I didn't hear the caller's question, but if what you're asking me is what he was asking, then I I wouldn't say that he automatically gets that if he asks for it. He hasn't earned that. He's close to that though. But he doesn't have that belt. The real A sides in terms of the networks, you got Ward and Kovalev are the real A sides of light heavyweight on HBO. And on Showtime, you got Adonis Stevenson. So I don't think Joe Smith Jr. is really an A side.
But can't they make him one? I mean, they made Lemieux one
against Johnny Monahan. He's obviously.
I mean, look, they made Lemieux one, right? They gave Lemieux Curtis Stevens.
Yeah, but like Dave Lemieux was already in the middle of a rebound run. He had already defeated a couple guys. Glenn Tapia is one of them. So he was already on the path to that. I'll put it this way: if I go and the Saturday boxing event on HBO and the main event is Joe Smith Jr. versus Johnny Monahan, I'm not happy. Like, I'm not happy that my subscription
What about HBO After Dark? What about HBO After Dark?
No, because fuck that. Like, at the end of the day, like, at this point, After Dark and World Championship Boxing are interchangeable to me. Like, to be completely honest. If I'm the consumer, all I see is boxing. So, like, I just want to see good quality competitive matchups as the consumer. And that isn't a matchup that I'm excited about. Curtis Stevens, Dave Lemieux, I at least thought there was some level of competitiveness in that bout. That's why I accepted that bout. Like, Johnny Monahan hasn't done anything. Curtis Stevens has at least done something. I'm just really not high on that fight. I'll be completely honest.
All right. No problem. No problem. Let's get to Amin in Jersey. Talk to me.
Yo, it's a slow night when somebody says Johnny Monahan is a fight to be made, right? It's a slow night, fellas. It's all good. Yeah, let me get my bell, or we just running through it.
I'm actually trying something different. I'm doing a silent bell. It's running, but but only I see it.
Nah, it's all good. It's all good because I ain't gonna hold it out. Listen, Indongo reminds me of a little bit of more athletic Postal. I don't think him and Crawford is a fight that's even worthwhile other than the unification. However, if they want to throw Indongo against somebody, throw him in there with Postal. That's another good fight, another common opponent. And if they were even trying to build with HBO,
hell no,
I think that's a pretty cool way to build it.
Hell no. They do not need any in-between fights. They both one got 3 titles, the other got 2, man. All roads lead to each other. They don't need to build it up more than that. I mean, don't get me wrong. As an HBO consumer, yes, maybe they need to build it up for HBO's people because it's like, who's this other guy now that has all these belts? But it doesn't matter. Those belts, him having 3 belts coming into the HBO ring, the casual fans are gonna believe he's better than Crawford immediately.
Look, I'm doing us a favor because if we gotta watch Johnny Monahan and Joe Smith Jr., then on that same card, we should at least have Postal and Indongo as the headliner of a fucking.
No. That was just a Long Islander, bigging up his Long Islander. That card doesn't exist.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, man, that's my call, man, fellas. I love this show, man. Appreciate y'all, man. Keep it rocking, man. Next man up. I'm out.
Thanks, Amin. Yo, I mean, they got even Amin believing that that's a real card. This Monahan Joe Smith. Next thing you know, there's gonna be banners about it out there.
And think about it, like before there was ever mentions of this Nassau Stadium, Adonis Stevenson, and Joe Smith Jr. Like, Johnny Monahan wasn't a name that any boxing fan talked about at all. Like, he was never brought up in any sort of comment section and chat rooms, like in our show. Like, he was never mentioned at all.
No. A few years ago, he was mentioned in a big fight, a possible fight with Pascal, but it never. He's never gotten that opportunity. He's not even fighting like.
He's a club fighter.
Come on, he's just not fighting any of the names in his division. So that's what makes it hard to sell him. Let's get to, and you know what? Go to the facts too. We should both, while we wait, we're going to get to NO, and we're going to bring you some facts. We're going to tell you exactly who he's fought. This way it doesn't look like hatred.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you a young fella, and he comes from the Magnolia.
Whoa. What's good, people? We
What
got
up,
some real
Eno?
shit going on in the boxing world. What's good, man? We got some real shit going on in the boxing world right now. I think the right man won the fight because he the guy that's going to really need the money. And he going to jump all over the Terence Crawford fight once it's presented to him. So let's make that fight happen. No fights in between. I'm tired of that in between shit, man. Like Errol Spence. I like cats like him and well, I used to feel like that about Triple G, so I don't know what's going on with him right now. He a businessman right now. But the cats that's trying to get into these unifications right away, we need to promote these guys, man. You know what I'm saying? They the one keeping boxing alive right now. You dig? So let's go ahead, no in between. Let's get the fight with Crawford so we can get close to undisputed champ, man. That's what it's all about. Cause like I said on the last show, when you got all the belts, everything got to go through you. No negotiation, none of that. Sign a contract, try to make a name for yourself. That's my call, though. Everybody be easy, baby. Hit the thumbs up. And shout out to El Camino. Let's get it.
All right, and no. Yeah, man. I don't, Matt, how do you feel? You want an in between? I thought I heard you say that. I should have got at you too, man. You want an in between?
Do I want an in between for Indongo Crawford? No, I never said that.
Oh.
I said that I would be okay with it if it was O'Hara Davis. Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Oh, I like O'Hara Davis. He's a great prospect.
Yeah. So he deserves 3 title shots for beating Derry Matthews.
And Indongo deserves a unification off of Trinovsky.
Well, he has the 3 belts. That's different. It doesn't matter who he took them from at this point. He's got 3, bro. He's got the other 3. Like, it doesn't matter at this point. But Shawnee Monahan's biggest win is Donovan George. That sums it up. Not to say that that's bad. It just doesn't fit in with Joe Smith, who beat Fonfora and B-Hop. Like, I want Joe Smith to be able to retire from local whatever, fucking union he's still in. You heard him on this show. He says, I still can't retire. So he still ain't get the money. So, he needs that. And that's what he deserves for beating those 2 names. He deserves a Ward, a Kovalev, an Adonis Stevenson, a Pascal in Montreal.
Barrera, maybe. I know it's not the biggest money fight, but that's
Sullivan Barrera.
That's a fight in the right direction.
Come on, bro. Sullivan Barrera gets him absolutely no dough, and it's not a step in the right direction.
It eliminates the name. It makes every champion go.
Bro. Listen, Fonfora was further along in the division than Barrera, and he knocked him out. And then B-Hop was a legend in the division, and he knocked him out. Why would he go backwards and fight a prospect?
Barrera's not a prospect, I would say, at all.
Yeah, contender, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe.
He is a contender.
No, maybe, okay? Because fucking Paul Parker, we never heard of him.
What's Better Beef?
Same thing. Prospect. Who the fuck?
No. Better Beef is a prospect. He hasn't beaten anyone.
Who'd he beat?
He hasn't beat a Shabransky. He hasn't beat.
Yo, but Shabransky was another dude that we were talking about because he was signed to Golden Boy. But who had he beat? These guys needed to get their opportunities. You can't start acting like Sullivan Barrera is the next guy when he already had a shot at Ward and didn't look good at all. And he's still not even looking good. Like
he didn't look good against Ward.
Bro. I don't know, man. Yo, put him in there with Joe Smith. See what he do to him. But it wouldn't be fair to Joe, is all I'm saying. From a financial standpoint, I mean, think about it, bro. You go in there with Fonfora, and then you go in with B-Hop. It's only right because
the fight to make was Adonis Stevenson and Joe Smith Jr. The second that fight wasn't made, it sent the entire division into a twilight zone. It really did.
Nah, there's no twilight zone, okay?
Oh, come on, there is.
The top of the division is Ward and Kovalev, and then you got Adonis playing fucking games. Let's get to Josue from Oregon.
Hey, yo. Hey, just wanted to talk about what's up, Ness. What's up, Matt? Hey, I wanted to talk about the Sullivan Barrera fight real quick. You know, it was kind of one of the weirdest fights that I've ever seen. You know, for HBO, because the fake headbutt and that taking like 5 minutes, and then some other, another break over there. But it was cool that Sullivan Barrera got the stoppage, and you guys are saying that. I think the Joe Smith Jr. And the Sullivan Barrera makes perfect sense. Like that's a great fight. I wouldn't mind it, and that's my call. Thank you.
Damn, he said it's a great fight. Man, I don't know, man. I want to see Barrera get some dodo, man. For real. Let's get out to our ringer, man. He went from boomerang to ringer. He likes to cut the line instead of come back. Oh. Matt, you trying to leave already?
I didn't click that. That was you.
Black stripe.
Brucey.
Bruce?
I think you clicked on Mr. Yes, sir.
Oh, shit. I did. I'm going.
Well, fuck it. I am here then. I'm here.
No, but you're a boomerang. 1 second, my friend.
Sorry, Mr. Yes, sir.
Yeah, Bruce.
Yeah, you don't get that intro. Thank you for letting him become a boomerang. But I got the most perfect fight for that Shawnee Monahan and Joe Smith Jr. card.
That fight don't exist. Stop it before you guys bring it to life like fucking Ghostbusters.
Listen to my fight. Listen to my fight though. It's going to be Andre Ward against Tommy Carpenti for all the belts.
As the co-main event.
As the co-main event.
Oh, so this is definitely a dream.
Because if we're just talking the most craziest shit about our homeboys, then that's where we're at with it. Ward will be on the undercard of Joe Smith Jr. And my boy will be fighting him for all the belts.
I get it. So if it's that way, then Matt, who you got on the undercard of that?
Who can Felix Diaz fight? Broner, dude. Felix Diaz versus Adrian Broner. Yes. That's actually pretty. Yeah, I'd watch that card. I'll just be honest, dude. I'd watch that card.
Matt's ultimate jerk off fight. Indongo against Diaz.
Oh my God. No, don't even mention that. Okay. Like, I don't want to see either of them fight each other or one of them lose against the other. That would break my heart.
Well, it's too late. Diaz is going to be out for a while after this.
All right, guys, I'm out, man.
Bruce.
Good show.
Good call, brother. Thanks for calling in. Let's get to Ishmael in Sacktown. What up?
What's happening? It's your boy, you know what I'm saying, calling in, seeing what's going on with the Boxing Voice today. Just wanted to touch on a couple topics y'all went over today. First off, man, I say that, these boxing fans, man, we some fickle people, man. We jumped and screamed to get the Felix Diaz fight for Terence Crawford. Now we're looking right past Terence Crawford talking about this unification. But I got 4 reasons why that unification not gonna happen right away. The first of which is Eddie Hearn got the option on the next Indongo fight, so he already talking about bringing Anthony Crolla up to 140 for that fight. He's talking about using O'Hara Davies. And then the third reason is Don King got a married mom out there waiting with a mandatory challenge through the WBC for Terence Crawford. And the fourth and most important reason, like I said when I called Thursday, is Sergey Lipinye is the IBF mandatory challenger, and he spoke to I think Boxing Scene today, and his manager is quoted saying, "We already talked to Uncle Al, and he said we're not taking no step aside money. We're getting our fight. We've been waiting long enough." So I think Sergey gonna get the Julius Indongo fight next.
That's a great fight, though.
Another
That's
thing,
a really good fight.
I like it. I like it. I saw Sergey Lithier live and at UFC
I don't want
on J-Rock and Charlo undercard.
I don't want it.
I think you're gonna get it, bro.
Casualness, man. Don't even worry about it. He's a casual, you know.
I think you're gonna get it. Sergey is nice. I saw him live. He put the pause on Lenny's apple finger, man.
I don't want it.
And don't give me the who is that. Don't give me the who is that guy sound bit either, man.
I don't want it.
Who the fuck is that guy?
Hey, so a little fun fact, man. I've been looking at this HBO thing and seeing which direction they go in, and I think that y'all agree with they top 3 fighters right now, most popular fighters, Triple G, Canelo Alvarez, and Terence Crawford, right? Two of the last 3 of those guys' fights been all Al Heyman fighters. Two of Triple G last 3 fights been Al Heyman fighters. 2 or 3 Canelo Alvarez last fight has been Al Heyman fighters, and the same thing with Terence Crawford. So that imaginary band that they had on Heyman at HBO seemed like it's going out the window because they putting their biggest fighters against his fighters. Other thing y'all talked about today is the WBC. Shani Monahan thing. The WBC announced a pseudo tournament not too long ago, saying that since they allowed Stevenson to pay Storm Alvarez step-aside money, they was going to set him up with 2 mandatories. So Storm Alvarez is the first mandatory, and then they ordered Joe Smith Jr. and Alexander
Who the fuck is that guy?
to become the secondary mandatory. So the Monahan and Joe Smith fight, that's pretty much out the window. I think Joe Smith's going to get a shot at being
You did a great job. But that was your 3 minutes. I'm riding the time on silent, right? Because some people get offended, right? So I'm riding the time on silent today just to see if this works better. Great call. But I did not want Lipinets, and I'll tell you why. Not because he's not a good fighter. I think he's a good fighter, a very hard puncher. But I feel like if Lipinets goes in there and beats Indongo, which he might, he has a very big chance that he can upset the apple cart because of the power, then we'll never see a unification. You know, I mean, obviously in this day and age, yes, we can see it, but it's going to get harder because now Lipinets will have all these titles with the powerful Al Heyman as his advisor. And then, you know, negotiations are going to take long and draw out like they did for Jacobs Golovkin. And we got to wait. And, you know, where it could just happen if it's on the other side. Because now that he brings up Lipinets, look, with Indongo having the option with Eddie Hearns, that means that it's even more of a possibility that Indongo gets in there with a Lipinets. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. I don't know if that's the best scenario. Let's get to someone that could give us his opinion on that.
Mr. Info Joe.
This portion of the show we call In the Know, presented by my brother.
Yo, what's up, my boxing brothers, the Boxing Voice? Yo, hey, Ness, I just want to give you a shout out, man. Shout out to JP, Matt, Fern, and Santiago, man. Ever since that second appreciation, Boxing Voice appreciation night, man, I met those guys and we actually hang out and watch the fights together, man. Ain't nothing like watching a fight with hardcores. And before that, it was all just me by myself with casual. And I just want to give you a shout out and let everybody out there know with the Boxing Voice how it brings us together. And we live in the same city, no more than 20 minutes together. If it wasn't for you, man, we would have never been hanging out, and I would have never had no hardcores to watch boxing with. So just shout out to you, brother, Nestor Gibbs, personally.
Thank you, brother.
Now, I got a question for both of y'all. I want the Indongo Crawford fight to happen next, knowing between fights. I want to see a unified champ in any fucking division right about now. But if Crawford advantages is normally when he switches southpaw, right, on a right-handed fighter, orthodox fighter. But when he fights another southpaw, suppose if it's Indongo,
will he still have that advantage? You know what I'm saying? Or he wouldn't have that advantage, in my opinion. I want to ask y'all about that. Would it be better for him just to stay orthodox to fight Indongo or switch to southpaw? And I take my answer off the air. Peace to y'all. I want y'all opinions about it.
Well, we kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, man. That's what I'm saying. It's an interesting fight because Crawford, whenever the fight starts to get flowing, he usually ends up in southpaw. I don't remember him ever finishing a fight from start to finish just in the orthodox stance. So it would be interesting to see, but I still think that Indongo is extremely wide. Nowhere near as skilled as Crawford. I mean, can he upset because of the height and the reach and the constant movement, the stamina too? Like, I forgot about that. Matt brought it up. I mean, this dude didn't stop punching for 12 rounds, nor moving. Like, he literally didn't take any rounds off. Matt, do you remember a round that he took off? Because, I mean, I scored it all rounds for Indongo. I can't even
the round he stepped off the gas pedal, he still won. Like, that's the crazy part. So, like, he took some rounds off, but he still won those rounds.
Yeah, he seems like a very active fighter, but Crawford is a very accurate fighter and accurate puncher. So it's one that I would love to see. And who's to say that because Indongo fights in a southpaw stance, it would give Crawford issues? We don't know how much southpaw sparring he gets. And what is Diaz? Matt, isn't he southpaw?
I believe so.
So there's preparation. Maybe they knew what was coming. Who knows?
Diaz is a very different style of fight than an Indongo. And when you have a guy like an Indongo in front of you, that long range, he's going to be taller than Crawford. You might actually want to be the orthodox fighter against him if you're Crawford.
I don't know, man. You don't want to see that left hand coming down the pipe.
Because Crawford's the smaller guy and because he has better head movement and timing, I think that Crawford may be able to get to the point in the fight where he can time Indongo and slip those shots and come up with that right straight down the pipe and then slip out the side door. I think he's going to do that a lot in that fight when the fight happens, if it happens. Because if he does go southpaw, yes, he'll be able to land that jab much more efficiently against Indongo.
We don't know.
Yes, he'll be able to maybe negate that powerful left hand of Indongo. But still, I mean, it's just there's a lot of X factors when you have a guy like Indongo in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, there's questions to be answered. That's why that fight is very, very interesting. But outside of the fact that Crawford passes everyone's eye test, he has resume. He's been in there with, world-class fighters. Indongo is just stepping on the scene, but that stamina, that activity, he doesn't strike me as a guy that's going to allow Crawford to set the pace. And he uses the jab up and down. He goes to the body with it. He goes to the head. It's a paintbrush. I love it. Up and down. He's painting the fence. Listen, let's get out to our boomerang. Mr. Yes, sir. What's up?
Yes. I just go right off Matt. I was thinking Crawford would want to stay in the right stance just for that same reason. As much as Indongo is hard with that left, he had that hypnotizing rhythm all day with the fight, and I think Crawford is a much skilled fighter than Burns. He'll be able to time that, slip it counter, and somehow go with the right down the middle. So I would think he'll stay right-handed. But I really want to see that fight. It's like the unification right on our tip of our tongues, and if the conversation's right there, I hope no one takes it away from us. If Indongo don't knock out Terence Crawford within the first 5 rounds, I think Terence Crawford will be able to box him. Because as much as he was just controlling Ricky Burns, he was following Ricky Burns. I think Terence Crawford has much better movement, and he'll just kind of reset Indongo enough so that rhythm won't be as dominating as it was to Ricky Burns. He'd be more guessing when to throw it at Terence Crawford as to I knew I was going to dominate Ricky Burns with my punches. So I think Crawford's movement is better. It'll offset Indongo. It won't look as dominating. I think Barrera, for that caller who said that crappy headbutt, you look at that headbutt, that was right on the chin like a good punch, dude. The homeboy's knees buckled. So I kind of sucked to see that the fight, because I think that headbutt did shake him up a little bit. I hate to see that Barrera fight end like that, because even though I think Barrera probably would have stopped him eventually, I think that pre-shorted that fight. I think that had a good outcome of the fight. Took a lot of that dude's energy. That Bivol guy, whatever, I seen that fight. I didn't know who the hell you guys were talking about, Clarkson, and then I saw the dude. I vaguely remembered him. I don't see Bivol really. It sucks because he's that name and he's at where he's at now. He's going to have to fight the names now. So I guess I see him against Cleverly. And I don't know the rankings, but I guess whoever's like, if he's number 1, let him fight number 2 to 4. And then I guess he has to fight the big dogs. He has to. So that's that. That's my call. Enjoy it.
Yeah, man. A fight with he and Cleverly, it would be a fight that he's gonna have to win based off his power, because Cleverly's gonna throw a bunch of punches. He's definitely a puncher, not puncher power, but activity for sure. Let's get to Scorsese.
Yo, you can hear me?
Yes.
Oh, you're talking a lot of that Superman shit tonight, huh? A lot of that joke. It sound like Matt coming.
No, we're talking about the division, but we actually haven't spoken about him because he's not really fighting anyone.
Matt, it's like Matt is coming to terms with Joe Smith made a fucking mistake and he ducked the fight he shouldn't have ducked. He didn't act like a challenger. Now the WBC about to force him to act like a challenger, and he gonna get beat. And then he could go fight Monahan off TV, even if they get that fucking TV, even if they get the fight tomorrow. No network picking that shit up. So, yeah, you're right, man.
Please tell me why you always say.
I ain't rub my cause with this craziness, man. I'm telling the truth, dude. He messed up. You supposed to go fight the champion, act like a champion, not a child. You act like a challenger, you might become a champion. You act like a challenger, you're gonna have to fight. I mean, you act like a champion, you're gonna have to fight other challengers, and you ain't no champion yet, man. Vazi gonna beat him. He gonna get dropped down in the rankings. It's gonna be simple as that, man. Career, he gonna be on that yard you don't want him to be on. That's where he gonna be at. Ain't Vazi gonna beat him? Who got him beating Vazi? Anybody in the chat got him beating Vazi? Thought so. So yeah, enough of him, enough of Shawnee Monahan. From Forrest Stevenson, a good ass fight in my opinion. But anyway, to this champion Indongo, impressive performance. Left hand was coming from everywhere. Upside Ricky Burns' head, man. Yeah, I want to see him fight Lipinets though. I want to see them both fight their mandatories first. And then see if the WBA can get somebody in that form too, if he could prove himself like that, because he not beating Terence Crawford. That caller was right. He was following, oh boy, he was hurting him a lot, but he really was just like going anywhere.
Yeah, he wasn't cutting the ring off. That is absolutely true.
So yeah, that shit is OV for him. If he getting that, and then when Burns throw the hook, the counter punches at him, he wasn't really feeling that. He didn't look like he knew what to do. His head would move. But Burns wasn't really. Burns hit him a few times, but Burns ain't no damn Crawford. So I'm gonna need him to sort of tighten up a little bit, prove himself a little bit more. But if they go
nah. But he don't got to prove himself, Scorsese.
Well,
he got 3 belts. I mean, the time is now to make a look. Last person to be undisputed was Zab Judah. It's time to change that.
Let me tell you my point to this though. This is why I want it, because it's a 2-division champion at 140. I want to see him become a 3-division champion, and Crawford and him get to fight for that legacy with those 2 belts, because he eventually gonna be his man though. And I don't think that this fight here, Indongo Crawford, is as good as Bartholomew Crawford. I think that's the best fight in the whole division, maybe outside of Diaz.
Tell Bartholomew do what Ndongo's doing.
He fighting the WBA for the mandatory. He went up from a division. He doing what he can only do, man. He getting the fight. Simple as that. That's my call.
He awfully late because the world gonna move on and Crawford should move on. Let's go out to Sean Du. What up?
Yo, what's good, Ness? What's good? I'm at work right now, moving around. I didn't get to see the fight this weekend. I dropped the ball on that, but I mean, I don't know what to say. I'm just listening to the show right now.
All right, no problem, brother. No problem. Continue listening, Sean Dude. Thanks for checking in. But yeah, man, I don't know, Matt. What do you think about Scorsese and the fact that he wants to see these guys kind of go separate ways for a little while?
I don't want to see that. I mean, I think I'm in agreement with you on this one that I'm ready for an undisputed champion. Like wherever that division is, like I'm sort of ready for that now. I think that we have an opportunity here where obviously Indongo versus Crawford is better than their mandatories, 100%. Like Amir Aman versus Crawford or Indongo versus Sergey Lepinets, like none of those bouts are as good as Indongo versus Crawford. So I'm just ready for that fight. I say we should just get it over with. You know, let's do it. Let's have an undisputed champion in a boxing division for the first time in what, a decade?
First time in a long time, bro, because a lot of people get caught up in thinking that, Wladimir Klitschko was undisputed, but he wasn't. That WBC was always out there because his brother was the champion that held that title. So, yeah, man, Crawford and Indongo have an opportunity to write history. And this is what I'm talking about not waiting for the Pacquiaos and the Mayweather to make legacy. Create your own. This is how you do it. You get etched in stone in the history books as the guy that became the undisputed 140-pound champion. You know, here's a little piece of information, Matt. Danny Garcia runs around saying he was the man at 140. Crawford beats Indongo and becomes undisputed. Danny can't really say that. Even though it was a different time when Danny was at 140, Crawford essentially would have done what Danny didn't do and wrote history. So it's very important that he not only make this fight, but he send his wolves. He send what's this guy's name? His manager. Oh my God. Can't remember right now. Let me check my phone. Whatever. Send his manager, send Bob Arum, to make this fight happen before guys like O'Hara, Davis can slide in there,
Yeah, I think that it's on Indongo. If Julius Indongo wants to make a fight for the undisputed championship of 140 pounds, then it's on him. He's in the driver's seat of his career.
Cameron Duncan was the manager's name. That's who he needs to get after that fight.
What do you think should be next, Ness?
I mean, I would like the Indongo fight. I would like Indongo to do exactly what we're asking Deontay Wilder to do. Show up to the Crawford Diaz fight, call out the winner. It's easy.
Now, what do you think will happen?
What will happen? He would probably get a better offer from Lipinets and or Eddie Hearns, right?
Yeah, agreed. Especially the Eddie Hearn offer. Especially Anthony Corolla moving up to 140. I know that's been like Eddie Hearn's boy for a while. Sometimes Eddie Hearn just fixates on a certain fighter and he gives him more opportunities than he should be given. If that happens, that'd be a travesty. Truly a travesty.
Well, I am your host, Nestor Gibbs. This has been your Easter Sunday edition of the Boxing Voice. Short and sweet for those that wanted to stick around live, and short and sweet for those that listen to this the next day on iTunes. And while you're there, remember to drop us a 5-star review so you can have your reviews read on the show, like we spoke about today's reviewer who gave us a 3-star review because we talked too much about border wars. Shout out to UFC. Look at that. No wonder. It's a UFC guy from the UK. He says, very good when talking about the fights. Spend a lot of time talking about each other's fights rather than actual professional boxing. But when they actually talk about the fights, it's good. Very knowledgeable of worldwide fights as well. So, kind words, but a low review. But you can also give us your review by dropping that 5-star review on iTunes or TuneIn or Stitcher, however you listen. Remember to subscribe to us here on YouTube. We're at that 45,000 mark, and we want to thank you guys for helping us get there. But we have other goals to reach and conquer. So continue to subscribe. Continue to tell a friend to subscribe. You know the number, 1425-569-5241 is the Voice of the People hotline. So make sure you call us to voice your opinions. Catch my co-hosts at...
You can find me at Mixed Combat News on Twitter and my MMA podcast, Mixed Combat Radios on Patreon, SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, etc. Peace.
Later.